You may have played poker, but playing poker in Texas is a different animal. This is the Texas Poker Podcast with Tyler and Clint.
Hello, this is the Texas Poker Podcast. I'm Tyler. This is Clint.
What's up, y'all?
And we are back with episode 96.
Episode 96, closing out on 100, getting close to there. So how much poker did you end up playing this week, Tyler?
I actually ended up playing quite a bit, and I have two relatively interesting sessions, none which ended up in profit. But
well, at least it's good for content. At least they're interesting.
Oh, yeah. Whenever I'm playing it and I cash out for Zip, I'm like, this at least will be interesting for the people that listen.
You're donating to the podcast.
Yeah. So I went and played a session. The session was not particularly interesting, and there's a reason why. I started off playing tight. Playing correct, folding. I had one hand where I had pocket queens that came ace high, and I made what we discussed was an okay call at the end, but it put me on mad tilt, basically, right? And I was starting to tilt because it feels like whenever you play these sessions where you play super tight, and then you finally get the hand that you play after folding for an hour and a half, or almost not really participating for an hour and a half. It's so hard to let go of the hand whenever you go through that, right?
Oh yeah, it really is. Because in No Limit Hold'em, let's say you're a 20% VPIP. Well, that's 1 out of every 5 hands. If you're playing 1 out of every 5 hands, that's not that bad. The problem being is that comes and goes. It's not always going to be that. So sometimes you're going to play 4 hands in a round, but then you're also going to, fold for, 20 straight hands and stuff like that. So it definitely can get tilting when you're just card dead. You're just folding, and this is how you're going to make profit. If you start playing stupid hands, then you're just like everybody else. And then you finally get that good hand, and then it kind of goes off the rails, not your way. It definitely can be very tilting. Well,
actually, and then this one was interesting too, which is a situation I do not find myself in that often. I was in a PLO hand. I'll give you the exact situation I was in. I had a flush draw, king high flush draw, and a pair. Obvious fold for me when someone bets 60.
Is it? Wait, PLO hand. I got you. Okay, yeah.
The whole table called, 5 callers, and then back to me.
Okay.
Then I was kind of like, well, seems like I could call now.
It's going to be very close here. So is someone potting it for 60?
No, just betting 60.
Betting 60, the pot's a little bit more?
Yes.
And then how many callers?
5. Because at first I was like, oh, easy fold. Then the whole table called, and I was like, well, I'm going to lose this so often. But, I could possibly hit my flush and be good with the king high flush.
It's probably a call. It's probably close to EV on either way. So problem being is, let's say you're only 1 in 5 to hit the flush. So you're getting probably good enough pot odds there. Now, sometimes when you hit that flush, somebody's going to have the ace high flush. And then we talked about it, and you didn't have that many implied odds because when you bet on that last one and someone calls, it's usually not the best. But your stack would have been so low into that pot that you probably can get called by lesser, maybe. Because I think you said you had 200 behind.
Yeah.
And into a pot of 500 or 600, I don't think people are folding jack and queen high flushes if they get there on the river.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But it was such a weird spot to find yourself in because I was thinking first, easy fold, I'm out of this. And then all of a sudden, everybody called. I'm thinking, well, this can't be the worst. I bricked and continued on tilt all the way to Zip in my stack. But, so, that kind of accumulated. But it was just a weird situation to find myself in.
Well, I found it like a weird session for you because you made probably a lot of profitable calls that are not going to be profitable 50% of the time. Because that one you're going to lose almost every time, so you're going to just kill $60, but it's probably profitable in the long run. I think the Queen's hand was kind of close to that too. We didn't really go over it, but kind of made. He ends up making a light call with Queens on an ace high board on the river, but the way it played out, it was like a third pot size bet, and it was probably a decent call there. But you know you're not going to win 50% of the time, but you're probably going to win 30%, and you're still profitable.
Right. And he just had ace rag or whatever, so I got sent home crying. But while I was standing in Buc-ee's wondering what I'm doing with this podcast and poker, what were you doing in the tournaments?
Oh, yeah. So, lately I've been suffering from a little bit of burnout, just in general. I think, like, it's work, poker, and everything related, and when I kind of do that, I kind of want to switch it up, and like I talk about, like, tournaments are not the most profitable way, but to me they are more fun, and when I'm suffering from burnout, especially some of the freeze outs, I kind of do that to take away the burnout. So one of my favorite tournaments in Houston that's a weekly tournament is a Thursday night freeze out at Paramount, which I've been running like gold in. So I start out decent. I end up in kind of a tough situation. There's someone bets. I'm going to 3-bet with pocket jacks, but the person to my right 3-bets already. I'm like, well, with these stack sizes, it seems like 4-betting here would be overplaying my hand. I make the call.
Okay, I'm kind of debating. I don't know how deep you were, but I think a lot of time I'm just 4-bet all-inning here, but I also, don't have as much tournament experience as you, so it just probably depends on the blinds, I'm sure.
I think when I 4-bet all in, I think I'm getting called at the bet. When it's one of those things, I don't know, are you doing it for value or a bluff? Because like if you're doing it for value, I think you're folding out pocket 10s, pocket 9s, pocket 8s, and you're getting called by all the overpairs better, and you're getting called by like ace king, ace queen.
No, absolutely. Do you remember how deep you were, or not? Was this for?
It wasn't. I don't think 100. Let's say it was about 50 to 60 big blinds deep.
Oh yeah, I don't like the 4-bet that deep.
Okay.
I was thinking if it was like 20-ish, then I would.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're thinking like later end of the tournament. No,
Right.
This is still very early.
Okay, well that's a key detail. In this case, I like how you played this. I'm for sure calling.
That's a big key detail. No, this is still fairly early where we're still pretty deep.
Yeah, because if you 4-bet 60 big blind, you're gonna hate what calls you.
Yeah, okay, yeah, 100%. 20 big blinds, I do agree. That is a jam. The original raiser ends up calling, and we go 3 ways to the flop, where where pocket jacks are the overpair.
Okay.
So I think it checks to me. I bet, thinking I'm good here, and the 3-better calls. So I'm immediately thinking this person has ace king, ace queen.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking.
And the other preflop raiser folds. The turn is an ace.
I'm so sad.
Yeah, he leads out into me. I'm like, I tell him, the only things I thought I was beating here just got there. I fold, and he shows an ace. He does lead on that he 3-bet light that was not ace king, ace queen. I don't know for certain, but either way, it was a good fold. He had the ace.
When people do that or like say that they bluffed or they 3-bet light and don't show, I never believe that.
Yeah, that's true. It's kind of a...
not many people bluff. Not many people 3-bet light. I'm not buying it at all.
Yeah, he asked me if I wanted to know what he had, and I was like,
yeah,
I don't really care. Because it's going to be the same move for the most part. So that was a hand that really took me down a little bit. Then this hand happens. I end up 3-betting ace king and getting called. The flop is, what is it? Is like ace jack 10 or something. I bet a third pot, as I'm prone to do in these situations, and get a call. The turn is a jack, and he shoves all into me. He wasn't all in for that much. It was probably only like a pot-sized bet or so. Maybe even less than pot size. I just make the call. I'm like, well...
Does he have two pair here a lot of the time, I'm sure?
I'm not certain what he has, but I think just putting him on the jack that just paired is kind of playing a little too scared.
Oh, yeah, no, I agree.
I call. He has the jack, and that put me down to just like 3 or 4 big blinds going into the break.
That is so sad. Going into the breaks, I have to walk around. And
Yeah,
you're the guy with 3 big blinds.
You got to walk around and just know that you're shoving basically everything and all that. So I come out of the break, and as people are not really prone to do, like, whereas most people tighten up in these situations, I'm going to play like a maniac every time. And when I get sent home, I get sent home, but I'm not going to sit there with just a cut with 3 or 4 big blinds and just, hope for the best. I go keep shoving all in. We get down to the final 2 tables, and I'm big stacked at this point. I mean, I get I end up getting average stack when we go down to final 2 tables. And then it's one of those things, the blinds keep shoving in these tournaments where people don't know how to play them correctly. They just tighten up, and I just keep shoving over and over again. I end up shoving. This was pretty light. This one I did get away with. From early position, I probably have 8 blinds, and it's I've shoved 5-7 of hearts.
I mean, I'm gonna have to review the chart, but I'll thumb through it here after the podcast.
Yeah,
see where the 5-7 of hearts is in the under the gun shoving range. How many blinds you have to have?
I mean, way less than I did. I mean, I didn't have a lot of blinds, but it was definitely light. I think I looked over, and like 7-8 of hearts would have been a shove. But obviously, a suited 1-gapper that's lesser, definitely not. So I get a guy shoves all over me, and I'm like, well, this ain't great.
I was like, I have to show this card.
Yeah, I mean, I 100% have to show this. And it goes around, and I flip over 5-7, and the guy who re-shoved over me actually had pocket deuces.
I mean, best case scenario given
100%. And I flop a 5, and I am golden. So we go all the way to the bubble, and like again, in these things, I'm playing what people would consider like as a maniac, in my shoving range.
Would you describe it like, that expression everyone says you're either playing to win or just playing to kind of cash, that you're just playing to win? Is that kind of more, would you describe that expression as kind of what you're doing? Just playing for first kind of thing?
Well, what I'm doing, yeah, 100%, but more or less I'm just using what everybody in the world who actually plays tournaments. I mean, if you played a $400 entry, you wouldn't run into this. But I mean, using just random push fold charts. I mean, I'll use snap shove and go over that before the tournament.
Do you mean if you were in a $400 tournament, you would run into it more, right?
Well, people just wouldn't know how they should be playing.
You said the opposite. That was the only confusion.
Oh, did I? Yeah.
You said I wouldn't run into it. So.
Oh yeah, no. Like if you're playing like anything more, like $400, $1,000 tournaments, once you get to the late stages, everybody's going to know to do this. It's just these. And to be fair, like we've already discussed, these really are not that profitable, and people are playing to have a good time, and they should do whatever they feel that has a good time. I mean,
playing for longer is definitely a better time.
Yeah, when I was kind of on the verge of not knowing if I was a winning player, I love tournaments because you get a ton of play for your money, and like I say, I'm not running down on them. I'm just saying what the facts are and how I play differently. But I'm not doing anything crazy. It's just regular push-fold charts. But most people don't really use that in these tournaments. And I'm just kind of reviewing them and kind of knowing kind of what ranges I should be shoving. So there's this guy who's like got like 3 or 4 big blinds. He's like, you want to chop or anything? Or you want to give money to the bubble person. I don't recommend completely making deals that are going to be negative EV, but one thing that I have had done for me, and I will usually do, is I will set aside some money for the bubble. I feel like that's customary. You should kind of do that. I feel like that's just something to do.
Can you describe it? So you're saying like if there's so normally would it be 9-handed when the pay is, and then you agree to give the 10th person money? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, we'll use the scenario here. It was 5 players, and the 6th person was the bubble. You would just take a little bit of money from the places and give it to basically make a 6th place.
Gotcha. So you're just saying agree to pay out one extra slot, basically.
Exactly.
Is it? How do you find that amount to pay that person? Because that might be something that people don't know or understand, or I don't even know. How do you decide how much is fair or good to give that person?
This isn't something I like break out of ICM or anything like that. You'll typically take out some money from first, some money from second, maybe third, depending on where it's at, and you'll play something that's quite a bit less than the last place.
Would basically being kind of getting their money back for the tournament kind of be a good area?
That's usually about where it lands.
Okay, that's kind of what I was thinking. Normally, maybe like $10 over a refund, but
something around there. It's like I say, it's just something to do. And like I say, it's probably this is one of the few things I'll do that's negative EV, but I feel like it's been done enough for me that it averages out as well. So, and this guy is looking to make it, but there's one guy at the table he's not like big stack, but he's like average for the table, and he's like, no, I don't do any deals. And I'm like, which is his right. I mean, not looking down on that in any way, form, or fashion. If that is your stance, that is 100% your right to do. But it's a little bit of a dick move. I mean, to not do the bubble. I mean, it's his right, but I mean, it kind of So we end up playing forever, and this guy keeps shoving, and just nothing gets called or whatever. Well, the guy who I end up all in against the guy who didn't want to do anything for the deals, and end up busting him to where he actually busted on the bubble.
That's some quick karma, huh?
That is some quick karma. So we end up. So it gets super late. We've been playing forever. It's the longest this tournament's ever gone that I've played in it by far. As soon as he busts, I'm like, if y'all want to do ICM chop, I will agree to it.
How many hands is this? I mean, how many people are still left? Because if it's the bubble, I mean, I would think there'd be a ton of people left, right?
You know what? The 5th was the bubble. There's four of us.
Okay.
So I tell them, I'm like, I'll do an ICM chop right now. I'll agree to it before I even see the amounts. I mean, we've been playing it's been like almost 6 hours in a $150 tournament. I'm just ready to go. I'm probably, I think I'm like the second in stack size, but not by much. So we end up looking at it and doing an ICM, and the big stack is like, well, give me 100 more, or 60 or 70. And I'm like, well, I mean, if we're already doing an ICM, he's like, I should get more because I'm the big stack. I'm like, well, the ICM already calculates that. So when he starts doing this, I'm like, well, I'll say, well, I'll tell you what, if y'all don't want to do if we can either do the ICM or we can just play it out. I'm not gonna give anything more. I mean, the ICM is it's calculated as a fair way to do it.
Yeah, no, 100%. I agree with you here.
Yeah. So we end up. The other two were pretty short, end up busting them. It becomes me and the guy who wanted the extra 100, and I end up busting the other two out to where I am the big stack. We end up getting it all in. The blinds are pretty high. I have pocket 4s. He has king 10. I'm like, well, it's a race. And then the flop comes 4-4-6. I flop quads.
Well, that'll do it.
That'll end the tournament. So end up taking down first place, and which is the run I'm having on tournaments is ridiculous. I think I've now won 3 of the last 4 tournaments I've played. So, and not cash, but actually won. It's just ridiculous. It can't happen. I mean, it's way above variance, and definitely like I'm coming to a crash very soon. There's no way that can happen.
Well, hopefully it just continues. I mean, I wouldn't question it. You're just the first place guy.
Yeah. It's Now here's another question. Now this was I've been going to Stampede and playing their little free bar tournament on Fridays. More just a way to relax. I mean, it's not real poker, cash game, or anything like that. But on this tournament, again, I run like crazy on this tournament. And it comes down and they start wanting to chop it. Should I be chopping it here? Because I had a huge amount of chips. And I think there's the ones who wanted to chop it have literally a single big blind left, like one or two.
I mean, did you propose your ICM chop? I mean, I'm sure you had to break out quarters and stuff, but
so I mean, I feel like it's unfair to chop this when it's they're like, well, we'll share third place at $50. I'm like, well, you're taking 25% of the money, and you got a single big blind, and everybody else is stacked. Got about 25 or 30, not a lot of blinds. Anything can happen, but about 20 big blinds maybe.
I would propose the ICM chop and see what the numbers run out and say this is the fair number. You get $1.
But, I mean, the money's not that big of a deal to me in these tournaments, and I was wondering, I was like, well, should I just be out of, just to be friendly or whatever? I mean, I just think it's so weird to do something that's so, my mind won't do something that's unfair, even though the money really ceases to matter in the long run. I mean, I won it and got $125. If they chopped it, would I get 100? I mean, it really did not matter.
Yeah, I like to think you're educating the new poker tournament players, telling them that there's no deals here.
Yeah.
It's either ICM and you get $3, or you're getting none.
God, now I kind of wish I would have broke out the ICM just as a joke. Now
This is the perfectly fair way to do it. I will Venmo you this 75 cents to get you out of here.
So it was
But no, I actually would have proposed the ICM chop and explained to them.
No way, you're not really doing that. You were so foolish.
No, I mean that's what we can do. It's perfectly fair. We'll just let the numbers speak for themselves and.
So obviously you're making fun of me for being a dick.
Oh no, I would double down and do the ICM chop. No, I'm not making fun of you. I think that's what you should have done.
Whatever. I feel like this is complete sarcasm, and you just think you're calling me a dick.
I mean, you saw me take the guy's big blind last week, or small blind.
That's true. That was way worse.
So
I mean, you almost started a fight at the table for $1.
Yeah. So I mean, I
thought he was gonna cry.
It did seem odd.
I mean, it was okay. No, 100%. I feel way better about me just holding out for my, little money.
I wish you would have done the ICM job and ran the numbers.
God damn.
Next time.
So one. I mean, even those tournaments I've been, like I say, it's gonna come to an end pretty soon, and it's not big tournaments. Ooh, we're still planning on doing the Texas. Now this will come out. This comes out before tomorrow.
Yeah, this will come out before the tournament. Yeah.
Okay, tomorrow are you still planning on doing? We're going to do the new Texas Card House in Houston just opened up. I know it's over near Westheimer. I don't know exactly where it's at, but where most of the poker rooms are. And a $50,000 guarantee 1-day tournament, $300 entry. And me and Tyler, I'm still planning on doing it, right?
Oh yeah, I'm still planning on it. We'll see what happens, but
No.
I mean, I'm definitely hoping to go.
So I hope. I mean, I know this run's going to come to an end.
One more.
One more tournament.
One more time. Then let Variance take its course, and you can go play at Stampede all week.
Yeah, let the Variance take a course when I'm just out there having drinks and having a good time. So, let's see. We did the 2 tournaments, and now we're back to we played at the round of each. We don't usually play at Paramount yesterday.
Oh yeah. So it's just the hand of the whole session for me. So I start off playing. I play a PLO hand where, it's just another one where I'm against a made hand. I'm flipping on my draw, and I hit my draw, and I double up. I'm at $700, about $750.
Okay.
Now, there's a drunk guy at the table who says he's drunk and is potting every hand he gets into. And these hands are like $200 to go pre-flop in a 1-2 game. He's just raising. over and over again.
Is it mostly It's only Is he still playing the crazy and no limit hold'em? Or
Oh,
is it
yeah,
mostly just
everything.
PLO? Okay.
Everything. He's gone it all in. I mean, at this point, it's still early in the night. 10 times. I mean, just has a gigantic stack and just keeps winning.
Okay.
Right? I'm under the gun. I make it 20. That's how big this game is playing. I make it 20.
And with what hand again?
Pocket 10s. Two red 10s.
Pocket 10s under the gun. You make it 20. Okay.
And then the drunk guy jokingly says, I'm going to just go all in blind this hand. What'll you do? And I tell him, I'll call, man. I don't care. I mean, if you're going to just go all in, sure, man. He's like, I'm going to do it. And then it goes call. And then he just ships it all in for $750.
Did you see if he looked at his... I'm always very
No,
suspicious
he said he was
going
to do it. And before he had said it and done these things, he said he was going to do it. He looked at his cards and then did it.
Okay, so he said he was going to go all in blind, but he did look before he shoved.
He did look before he shoved, yes. But he
Okay.
said he was going to do it. And the whole night before he had said these things, done them.
Okay.
Very common.
Right. Okay, I gotcha.
So I just called. So now we're flipping for, like a $1,500 pot right here.
What does he have?
Queen Jack. Turns a queen.
I mean, that's fine. You because here's the thing: is you were ahead with the pocket pair versus Queen Jack, and then also you said there was a call for $20. So I mean, you're basically flipping with a little bit over 50% to get to get more money than 50%. So to more money than a double up. So this was a good call. It's well played, and just it's not going to work out about 49% of the time.
I mean, it was so sad.
Yeah, it does sound sad though.
I mean, I thought I was going to have quite the session. And then I bought back in. I bought back in for $600 at this 1-2 game, and I'm the short stack.
That is crazy.
My table was so wild. I mean, every hand, 50 preflop, 250 preflop. People are just, hold them too, not just PLO. I mean, just over and over again. The drunk guy shipped all in $700 bet on the river. So the pot was way bigger. $700 bet on the river with an ace high bluff. Got called. But
wow, that's
it was. I was like, how can I'm not even bankrolled to play in a 1-2 game anymore. What am I supposed to do? Where can I even play? This game was so gigantic. And it was one player driving 100% of the action, just over and over again, potting it. He must have had like 3K in front of him before that debacle.
That's pretty crazy. It made me think when you were talking about that, like my table was crazy, but not near as crazy as yours.
I'm like, I can't even play any hands into this game.
The 1-2, like the 1-2 round of each. It made me think of I've been avoiding Paramount just because I'm not a big PLO guy, but I do feel like PLO skills are above average for that player pool, and it made me think that maybe I should be going and playing there. It just, I don't know. It's like not much. I just don't like PLO that much. But if the games are that big, it makes me think that maybe we should go there more often. But at the same token,
I don't have the bankroll to embrace that variance of PLO like that. I cannot just be flipping over and over again for $700.
Well, that's tough. Yeah, that's a solid point.
I'm going to need to win a bunch right at the beginning.
Just win the flips and you're good. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd never played a 1-2 game that big. It was so ridiculous yesterday. I had people coming in with their $200. I'm like, what is going on here?
Yeah. Well, and to be fair, this is Paramount at 1-2 round of each. All the other days it plays more. Standard. Way more normal for a 1-2 game. No,
absolutely. But I was floored whenever I showed up yesterday in such a deep game and just crazy action.
That's it was. Yeah, that was one of the things you were texting me. You're like, the game's crazy wild over here and it's playing super deep. You should come over here. I'm like, I don't know, man. I've been losing for 2 hours. I got $300 in front of me. What? Why? I'm at a way less stacked table over here. And everybody's got me covered. I can double up through everybody.
Yeah, and then I basically just, I don't want to say blinded out, but missed a bunch of times and ended up losing close to $700, I guess, which is 2 buy-ins. So
yeah, it's not. that's going to happen.
I mean, if I would have won
especially
that,
in a game that wild, I mean, the variance is going to take over a lot.
well, I mean, if I win that flip, I mean, what a swing it would have been. I could have been in the car driving home.
Oh yeah, it's a. Well, luckily on my most of the time we do this, all I have are PLO hands to go over, and there are some of those, but I actually have some good hold'em hands. 2 of them that I don't know if I played right or not.
Well, sure, people will let you know.
Yeah. Are they the only 2 hands? Okay, there's one I texted you right there. Okay, and I got the other one. Okay, so a player makes it 15. I must be on the big blind here with ace king. So player makes it 15 and 2 call. I make it 75.
Perfect.
Okay. The pre-flop razor calls, and one other player is all in for $30.
Whatever.
Okay. The flop is 7-7-3.
I'm sure you're down betting here.
I bet 60.
Okay, it's good. I like this.
Okay. Pre-flop razor calls.
Fine.
The turn is a 9.
You're probably checking here.
I do check, and then he checks.
Okay.
The river is a jack.
I'm probably in check call mode, I would think.
I check, and he goes all in for like 500.
Well, I'm folding.
Okay. And then he ends up showing down ace-queen for a bluff on the river.
I mean, that's just literally just position based. Who's going to win that hand?
See, this is one of those things. There were 2 I wondered, and then I could be results. This could be very results oriented, but 7-7-3. I bet 60 he calls. That's all standard. That's going to play it. The turn 9. I'm wondering if I should be betting there when I have all the bigger overpairs.
I mean, this is results oriented.
Is it?
I mean, this is so results oriented. I mean, just because he would have folded, but I mean.
Then I was also.
But I mean, if you're just going to stack off with ace king every hand, I mean, it seems like
Yeah.
a good way to lose a bunch of money. I mean,
seems fair.
I understand going all in pre-flop and everything, yes, but just this is probably too results oriented. I think this is literally just position based, and he was able to make that move just based on his position.
Maybe so, because on the river also, when he's checked, I'm like, well, he's kind of capped here.
100%.
But I mean, I was also thinking
Or turn. You check the turn, yeah.
Yeah, he checks the turn, and then the river's a jack, and I'm like, well, he's not folding a jack, and a lot of his misses I'm actually ahead of. I thought I had too much showdown value. I mean, there is $90 that we're gonna have to showdown for anyways. So you think I played it fine, and I'm just being results oriented?
I think you played it fine. I think it's literally just position. I think that's. I mean, I don't think he even had to go all in. I think he would have folded for 250. I mean,
yeah.
I think it's literally just position. I mean, it'd be the same if you had ace king and he had ace king. He knocked you off a chop. I think if you were in position, you would have knocked him off the hand.
Yeah, probably so. Yeah, you're probably right there, because I was kind of wondering if I played that kind of weak. But looking back, I mean, he could have 10s, he could have jacks, and he's calling that turn bet.
I mean, he could have. I mean, but here's the other thing too: is we get on here all the time. This is a poor example, but we say people don't bluff the river that often.
Yeah,
so it's more of an exploitative fold, if anything, right?
I agree. Well, I think once he goes all in for that amount, I mean, there's nothing I can do. I definitely can't make that call with ace high. I mean, especially on something where that river can hit him quite a bit. I mean, it's king jacks, queen jacks, ace jacks do get there.
And like you said, he could still have all the pocket pairs that. I mean, the other problem is he could be bluffing with a mid pocket pair or some jacks, tens, whatever, and still have you beat.
Well, he could have a 7 there too. I mean, he'd shown wild hands before, so he does have other he just could have a random crazy hand that he hit.
Yeah, no, I think it's perfectly fine. Literally just lost due to position, which is why you don't like to play out of position.
That is true.
I mean, so much easier in position.
Let's take that as a lesson. So there's another hand. I make it 10 with 7-6 of hearts. 2 call. Flop is queen 10-7.
No hearts, I'm guessing, or
no hearts.
Okay, so we have bottom pair. You said
Bottom pair. Was I in? No, I think I was in position here. No, maybe more. So I think I'm in middle position here. The flop is queen 10-7. I have 7-6 of hearts. It goes check, check, check. Seems standard. I turn 2-pair when turn the 6. Player bets 25, and then the other player to my right calls.
Ooh, I'm raising big.
This is where I did misplay this. I did just call.
Literally hate it.
Yeah.
I mean, you're just so incentivized to squeeze that guy there. It's the perfect spot for you.
Yeah, this is one of those that I was like, well, let me not overplay. Because, I mean, it is 8-9 is there. There is better 2 pairs out there. So that's kind of what I was thinking.
My thinking is if one of those they have one of those, it's my time to go down.
That's probably should be the thinking with these stack sizes here.
I don't even know the stack size. I'm just saying in general.
I think if you're 1,000 deep, I think you might be misplaying this hand.
I still like raising.
I do agree with that.
I mean, you get re-raise. I'm, so sad.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
I should have raised. I just
call.
called, and then the river's a 10. Basically, counterfeiting my 2 pair.
I'm all over it.
Yeah,
that's so sad. But okay, here's the thing. I don't know his hand. If you raise big on the turn and he calls with ace queen there and counterfeits you, you get stacked here. I mean, this is now an easy fold.
It goes check, check. We end up chopping. He had 7-8. So it's we both had 10s with 7s with a queen kicker. So, but I mean, it was definitely one that I do think you're right. I 100% thought this before, and now that you mention it, I do think this should be a raise from the turn or on the turn. I definitely misplayed this hand.
That'll happen though. I mean,
no, 100%. It will happen, and it did happen.
I was about to say, I have like 3 podcasts where I just have reviewed nothing but misplayed hands. So good that you throw one in here.
No, well, that's I don't want you to feel lonely or anything. So it's that was kind of mine. It was kind of a sad day. Like I end up on the first hand busting out.
I thought I heard something going on over there. And then you text me. I misread the hand, and I thought you won. I was like, awesome. And you're like, I'm just living the dream. And I went back and read it, and I was like, oh, that's probably not. I was like, oh, what did you say? You texted me. I was like, nice.
Yeah. Well, I was like, this dude really hates me.
I thought you said that you flopped the nut flush, and it went brick. That's why I was like, cool.
No, I flopped the nut flush draw in a pretty big pot. In PLO. I don't know if you should be doing this, but I just pot it. I don't know. I mean, there's one straight out there that would be like 3-4, and I'm like, well, if nobody's got the straight, this is gonna be hard to call. Guess what? Somebody's always got the straight. I pot it. There's a call for less. For an all-in, comes back around. He goes all-in. I mean, once I pot it, easy call.
Oh, 100%. I mean, that was, 100%.
I mean, I'm just stacked. I mean, the stack size is enough to just dictate that I'm getting great odds at that point. And it comes brick. I mean, which is, I guess, fine. Like I say, I'm not a PLO expert, so I don't know if I am playing this wrong or not, but I will usually fast play nutted draws and nutted hands. And I think you should be, but well, who knows?
Yeah. Oh, I have an interesting one for you right here.
Okay.
Before we go. So I was having a pretty good session that first session until the wheels fall off and I rolled on the ground and tipped over, but I am short stacked now with 350 in a 1-3 game.
Okay.
I literally have money in my hand. I'm like, do I want to add on?
You have 350?
It's
not like you're still over 100 big blinds deep. It's not like you're that short.
Maybe I didn't have 350. You're right. I had 300. But
I'm sorry I said anything. Okay.
Yeah. And I literally have money in my hand. I'm like, should I add on this hand? And I was like, I'll wait. And then I looked down at pocket aces. I'm like, unlucky. So I open up to 20, raise a 20, and then I get 3-bet to 150.
God almighty.
And then I go all in and get snap called. I'm up against pocket nines, and the board runs out to a straight. He had the king eye straight, and I had the ace eye straight.
Okay, but let's also go results, because he made it. You made it. Okay, you made it 20, and then he makes it 150.
Yes. Well, that's what him.
Do you think if you add, how much were you going to add on for?
You don't even want to know. But
well, I mean, my thinking is, do you think do you think you push and he folds?
100%. We talked about it afterwards. So I was kind of like, I kind of got the maximum with that, actually. It kind of worked out for me.
Right.
But in the moment, it felt unlucky. And then I was also like, it was funny because we were talking, like, he was like, oh, I'm drawing so thin here. I was like, well, I was going to add on. I'm so happy I didn't. I was like, I haven't even won yet. I'm like, let's hold on before I'm up there crying, spinning that wheel,
Yeah. Oh, God. Yeah, no kidding.
So I'm like, let me hold on and win this first. But, he easily folds pocket nines there for any more money, really.
Yeah, because if you make it 600, you can't. I mean, it becomes very weird if you make it. I mean, you're probably shoving.
I had more than that. I had 375 because I remember telling him I think I had like 300, 320, and ended up being 375.
Yeah, so that actually works out pretty well. I guess you could. I mean, sometimes I will do, and this is super exploitative. You're probably not going to get away with it in tough games. But if I have 600 here, knowing that I don't want to fold, I will min raise 4-bet and then jam every flop.
Oh, min raise 4-bet. Okay, I thought you were going to say just call, and I was about to turn this podcast off. I was about to say,
well,
no. We've talked about this. We've been misplaying 4-bet pots. I've been sizing up way too big. I don't even mind the min or just over min. I think it's more correct.
I think so. I mean, it leaves a weird 0.5 stack to pot ratio.
Whatever.
But I mean, at the end of the day, it's you still put them in a weird spot where they're like, well, now I'm getting just 150 to win to win 600. Yeah. And like I say, you just jam every flop at that point.
100%.
So I don't know, but I guess it doesn't matter if you would have done that, but either way, it seems like he just folds on the flop, so it would have been the same result.
The flop was king, queen. I was like, oh, God. Then a 10 and a jack. And I was like, how can I win? And he's like, that's me. And I was like,
Well, you have the nut straight.
Well, no.
Yeah.
It rivered it, though. But,
yeah.
I was just watching it run out because I'm thinking what's calling my all-in pre-flop.
Oh, yeah. All the Broadways have 2 pairs and sets and everything.
Exactly. And then he's like, that's me. And I was like, oh, I thought it was me. I thought we were chopping now.
Yeah.
Kind of thing, because I thought he might have had ace king.
I mean, it's weird that he says that's me when a ton of your range aces, ace king, and ace queen.
No, I had my cards face up.
Oh, did you? Oh,
yeah,
okay.
All in pre-flop with ace. I just turn them up. I told him ahead of time I have aces.
Before. Okay.
And I turn them. Even with the 10s, I turn them up. Whatever.
Yeah.
So, the only time I don't turn them over is when it's a dicey hand.
If I don't want to show this unless I have to.
Yeah, I tell him sometimes, if I turn this hand over, you're going to be so sad. Because the only way I'm turning it over is if it's the winner. You don't even have to show your hand. I'm going to muck this face down.
Yeah.
So.
That's pretty good. It's that's an interesting spot you are in, 100%.
Well, I don't have anything else. Do you have anything else for this week?
No, I'm super excited about that tournament. Me and Tyler both work on the weekends. All the cool tournaments are always multi-flight tournaments, so not a 50,000 guaranteed is way bigger. Outside of the 15,000 guaranteed I do every now and then at Texas Card House in spring on Fridays, it's just way bigger than anything I've done in a long time. So
how late do you think the tournament is going to go? People were talking about that.
It starts at 6. When you told me about it, I was like, it's got to start at 1 or 2. It starts at 6. I thought, it seems like it would go on for freaking ever. I guess it's one of those things that if I'm running that deep into a tournament that's that big, I'd cease to care. But it definitely, I would have thought for such a gigantic tournament, and one I think is going to draw so many people, I definitely thought it was going to start earlier, but I I guess you want to get that crowd if everybody, works, and you don't want to start it at 1-2 on a Thursday where almost everybody's off. So I guess I see their point, but hopefully if you go through all of that length of time, you don't end up bubbling, because that would be sad.
Well, I guess on that note, this concludes the Texas Poker Podcast. We'll talk to you next week.
That was the Texas Poker Podcast. Go ahead and rack up, add time, and we'll see you next week.